hit
What's
myself.
up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA shows. Justin just hits himself in the face with a bike, but hey, here we go. He's got that Extreme Couture rocking that shirt today, and we are 1 day away from UFC 320, which is so exciting, and we can't wait for UFC 320. And we're going to be even talking about one fighter, maybe two if we have time, in particular, that are going to be on the prelims and early prelims. That is two fighters that might be very interesting to watch on the come up. That, man, I can't wait to show you this one guy. Justin said he hadn't heard of him, so we're going to surprise Justin later by watching some fight highlights. I'm going to give you guys an overview of I just finished listening to an interview of him on Ariel Helwani's show. Dude, this guy has superstar written all over him.
He's in the UFC?
He's in the UFC. He's fighting tomorrow. And guess what? You know, your boy, Francis, who trains at Extreme with you, this guy is also Cameroonian.
Ah, okay, bet.
And like jacked out of his mind and never lifts weights. Like he's a specimen. It's insane. And he's only 23 and he's your favorite type of fighter. But anyways, we're going to get to all that in a bit. It's going to be very, very exciting. Okay, we already got a comment in here. Let's use in the mix. Tehran is back. Tehran, what's up? What's up? Welcome back. This is a very exciting show because we got a big UFC event, and Justin has been hard at work this week making 2 prediction videos. Man, your prediction videos are so money.
Do you like him? See, I'm just not confident with him yet, but I'm trying to do the best I can.
Let me explain what these are the things that Justin is able to pick out. That, I mean, obviously there are other people on YouTube that aren't fighters, but that have a very good eye. I mean, MMA Guru is one of them. I think MMA Joey does a nice job as well. But to be honest, you can't get that same type of analysis, I don't think, unless you watch tape and you're a fighter and you can really break apart what's going on. And that's what Justin has done in both his Merab versus Corey Sandhagen video. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, make sure to check it out. And then he broke down and did a nice job talking about Ankalaev versus Pereira. I hope he's wrong on the Ankalaev versus Pereira fight. And we're going to talk about that, talk about why today. And Khalil Roundtree said it best in the weigh-in show today. It's just, dude, Ankalaev, for whatever reason, at least as of now, just doesn't seem to have the it factor, whatever that it is. And even Pereira, who doesn't speak English either, but he's got something about him. Okay. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how to define it. Maybe Ankalaev still has it and he can turn around and maybe connect with fans better, be more of an interesting, I guess you could say, character in the whole play of the UFC and mixed martial arts. I don't think that's going to happen. And it's a shame. I got to be honest. It's a shame that it is that way with the light heavyweight champion, which is such an exciting division and was so exciting before when Pereira was at the top. So anyways, we're going to talk about all that. Let's get right into the mix. By the way, I'm in Montana, guys. We're doing a Fusion Fight show tonight. Justin wasn't able to make it because his son has a football game this weekend. So unfortunately, it's just going to be me commentating with another awesome fighter, Wayne 10. So that's going to be really cool. But I want to get into the mix right off the bat as we start today's show. Pereira versus Ankalaev. Justin, if for people who missed your video, give us your final prediction for this fight. Tell us, give us some details as to why you see the fight going the way you think it's going to go.
Okay, so we talk about Pereira, obviously an incredible kickboxer. He's been working his wrestling, and he's working his wrestling defense, obviously, who doesn't get taken down. I think he's done an incredible job from that. But where Pereira has his most success when he gets guys to stand in front of him. And I can go to a couple instances. We talk about Jamal Hill. Remember when there's the growing shot and he said, stop. Jamal was standing in front of him in range, not moving his head, not moving lateral, not moving back, and he's able to pick his shots. He can pick his left hook. Okay, let's move on to Israel. Oh, that's a fluke. All right, it's a fluke. Let's move to Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya had his back to the fence to where he couldn't move back, and if he moves left or right, he's going to move into his power shots. So again, he's standing still. Something that I heard through a lot of his fights from Joe Rogan, and he said, and it wasn't one fight. I'm talking at least because the 3 fights that I watched, he said it every single fight. Quote, you cannot stand in front of Alex Pereira. When you stand in front of Alex Pereira, and that's where his quote was, you cannot stand in front of Alex Pereira because Alex is such a skilled, gifted kickboxer. He's a sniper. He's going to hit you on the chin. Ask Sean Strickland. All right. Although Sean Strickland wasn't standing still, but he was inching forward just a little bit at a time. So in a sense, you could call him standing still. And that's when he landed that left hook. Alex is jabbing at him. Sean's parrying with his backhand. He fakes his jab. Sean goes to parry, hits him with the left hook. Again, he was inching forward, which is kind of like standing still. All right. So again, reiterating, Alex Pereira does his best work when he can get people to stand in front of him. Now you look at someone like Ankalaev. Ankalaev doesn't stand in front of people. Ankalaev can move left. He can move right. But something Ankalaev does that I'm very impressed about is he doesn't necessarily always move forward. He inches backwards. All right. So that keeps him at the end of the range. He doesn't have to have as fast of reactions to missed with a punch or missed with a kick because he has that extra space to see the strike coming. Or for instance, if you're going to get hit with a kick and you're going to hit with the shin, but you're already 2 or 3 inches backwards, now you're getting hit with the foot. And if you're able to react and lean back, now you're missing. Does that make sense? So Ankalaev will inch backwards or inch to his back left foot when he fights to draw guys in, to give him that false sense of security. And then when they're coming in aggressively, maybe frustrated, that's when he's going to look for his takedowns. And that's when he's looking for his blitzing strikes. I think it's, man, I want Pereira to win. I hope I'm wrong. I'm taking Ankalaev. I'm taking Ankalaev by knockout. Pereira's 38 years old. Pereira wants to come in and he wants to do something spectacular. He doesn't want to go in there and win a close decision. I'm sure he'll be okay with winning a close decision, but he wants to show that he's a better fighter, because if he goes in there and wins a close decision, there's still controversy. Now they're 1-1. Now they're going to have a third match. I don't think he wants to. I think this is a bad stylistic matchup for him just because of how Ankalaev moves his feet compared to where Pereira has his success. I'm taking Ankalaev by knockout.
Okay, so I want to talk about a couple things. By the way, we got some comments in the mix. Donald Gage is back. He said, "What? Hey, dudes, good to see you. What's up, Donald?" Teron says, "I feel bad for Tristan Vines." Yeah, we're gonna talk about Tristan Vines later. That is the opponent of Ateba Gautier. It's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be bad. We'll get to that. But Ateba Gautier has said something very specific about fights and how he views his opponents. And he says, I love his attitude. Yo, this guy is like my new favorite fighter. He says it's all love, because when you hit somebody and you knock them out, you're actually helping them improve and get better as a person and as a fighter. So he looks at stepping into the octagon as opposed to street fights, which he's been in a ton of them. If you listen to the Ariel interview, that he says in the octagon and mixed martial arts, it's a different type of fight. It's a fight from a love vantage point. So he would say when he knocks Tristan Vines out, which I think will inevitably happen, he's showing him love. He's showing him compassion. Anyways, just to put a little silver lining on that dark cloud. Barat says, did we see the clip of DC and Pereira pranking each other? No, I didn't see that, but I'll have to check it out. And here's the thing. Okay. And by the way, chat, let me go to chats first. I'm going to go back to Donald's comment. My picks are Ankh, Merab, and Jiri. Dude, I cannot. This card is so good and so deep and so ridiculous. Okay. Now, Donald brings up, he said he's 38. He's a freak of nature for sure. He's a freak of nature. This is one of the things I was worried about, is his age, that people don't really talk about. I think people just look at Pereira as like this indestructible robot, but he is 38. Now, let me push back a little bit, and not push back, but I want to hear your thoughts on a couple things I heard on the weigh-in show this morning. One thing is Pereira was fighting at a frenetic pace. He was taking no time off. He was traveling. He was doing so many things. He claims by his own admission that he was only at 45%, whatever that means, right? And I know you don't like it when I bring up the excuses or the explanations from fighters, but it's what he said. This time he's had the most time off that he's ever had in between fights since he began his UFC career. The guy basically still has an amateur level record. My question to you is, with this major time off, now he's actually let his body rest, recover, heal. Plus, he's probably had more time to work on his grappling and wrestling defense, which is another issue. Maybe even more time to work on these different logistical issues that you mentioned with Ankalaev moving backwards, and maybe figure out a strategy to deal with Ank's movement and that stylistic matchup. So the question is, do you think, with all the time off, with the rest, the recovery, with how confident maybe Alex Pereira is coming in and how he's dismissed that last loss because he was not at full capacity, do you think that gives Pereira some extra advantage and maybe gives him a better chance than you thought before about winning this fight?
Two things. So I want to go back to what you said about that I hate when you talk about. I don't hate it. The problem is when guys win, they don't talk about it. They only talk about the excuses or the injuries when they lose. You don't hear guys coming up, or very rarely, oh man, I had an injured hand, I had to overcome this. Sometimes you do. But for the most part, when they win, they keep it hunky-dory. But when they lose, we find our excuses. That's the kind of thing that just bothers me, because we're always dealing with injury. Man, look at this. I almost got my eye taken out yesterday. That's a fingernail, dude. Coming across my eye yesterday. But anyways, to get to your point, yes, absolutely. Alex Pereira has been there and done done that. He's a high-level kickboxer. He's a high-level MMA fighter. His grappling defense, his wrestling defense is getting so good. He is getting better, and he has the ability to make those adaptations to moving on to fight number 2. They always say beating a high-level fighter or winning at high-level sports twice in a row, beating a football team twice in a row, that's really good. It's very hard because great teams make adjustments. Alex Pereira is going to make adjustments, but Ankalaev is going to make adjustments too. There's going to be things he saw in the fight too. So it really comes down to the battle of who's made their better adjustments. Now you look at Donald Gage, Alex is 38. This is why I think he's going to get knocked out, because he's 38 years old. Ankalaev is 33 years young.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year age gap. I think the reason that Pereira has been fighting so much in the last couple of years because he knows he's old. He knows Father Time is eventually going to catch up to him. Unfortunately, I think it's going to catch up to him in this fight, and unfortunately, I think he's going to get knocked out. I hope I'm wrong, though.
You know, when you I was literally about to change my pick to Pereira because I've been saying, like, my brain is telling me Ankalaev's going to get this done. But then I heard on the weigh-in show, they said, well, you know, really, if you look at the last fight, it was all about round 3. That was the pivotal round. It was a very close fight. So I'm trying to be optimistic. How amazing would it be if Pereira pulls it off? The crowd, people will go mental at the presser. Everybody was booing Ankalaev. They were going crazy. And the boos were because they love Pereira. So I'm just thinking, how amazing would it be and how incredible would it be for the fan base who loves Pereira so much, has become such a rock star in the UFC, for Pereira to win. But the more you talk about it, man, I'm feeling not very optimistic. That being said, I'm going to be cheering full on for Pereira. I know that's your pick, and God, I gotta say,
I'm not even going to bet on it just because I want Pereira to win so bad.
Yeah. So that's our take. I guess that's what we'll see. Tehran says, I got Ankh round 1 knockout. Dude, that would be nuts.
I think a knockout's coming.
Here's the thing. If he does win, props to him. And by the way, when I said he doesn't have the it factor, it's not like me trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to be realistic and objective. And that's what it seems to be. I mean, the guy doesn't do any interviews. He doesn't sit down. He doesn't make public appearances. And maybe that's his personality. But like, I'll say this, if he gets the win and he gets it emphatically, if he gets a knockout, I mean, oh my God, that would be crazy if he knocks him out, especially in the first round. I just hope for the sake of UFC fans that Ankh gets out there and we get to know him a little bit. I heard DC said he's kind of a prankster and he's a funny guy and he's a jokester. So I'd love to see the personality. I'd love to see him work on that side of the business in terms of connecting with fans. So we'll see what we see, but very, very exciting main event. Really, really exciting. I think it's only not as talked about because it's a rematch, but it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see how it goes down. Barat says, rewatched the last fight, very close round by round. Yeah, that's what they were saying on the morning show. Didn't remember that before I rewatched. I remember it was close. Like, I do remember it was close, but I do also remember, I mean, Ankalaev seemed to have a good handle, never really seemed to be in danger. So we'll see. But again, this is light heavyweight. This is Pereira, a knockout artist. Anything can happen, right? We have to have that optimism if we are Pereira fans, that really, truly anything can happen. Okay, let's get on to the co-main. Holy smokes, dude. I almost feel bad now because I'm becoming such a big fan of Merab. I almost feel bad that I rooted for Sean O'Malley over Merab, but you got to pick a side. We love Sean O'Malley, and he's so fun. But Merab, I think he just continues to grow on people. And one thing that I wanted to point out today, before I turn over to Justin so he can give you the real fight breakdown, but I watched all the weigh-ins as I like to do. He came in, I believe, at 134.5, legend. Actually, I think Corey Sandhagen did as well. But then Merab hits the weigh-in. He had to get the cloak of shame or whatever. No, he came in on 135 on the dot, actually, I think, because they had to do the cloak of shame, and he stripped down naked and he weighed in, I think, on the dot. But afterwards, he was all amped up and he was like flexing and jumping around and having a good time. And Justin, I imagine the stories you've told me of cutting weight. How can somebody be jumping around and being happy and flexing, especially when your body is so depleted of water? Isn't there massive risk of like cramps and pain and injuring yourself because you're so dehydrated? Yeah, he was doing it. So I don't know what that says to you about Merab and where he's at mentally, physically. But yeah, take it away.
Dude, I couldn't imagine jumping around. Once I step in that scale and I hit, I'm just happy to step off, man. I get jump like that's out of the question. You know, sometimes you stand up too fast and you blood rush to your head and you get lightheaded, let alone jumping up and down. Of course. But it just goes to show what kind of animal this guy is. And I tell you what, like, I know out of his wins, he has like 15 decisions, which, you know, you guys hate. I always talk about how much I hate that. But this guy has such an incredible personality and is such a positive ball of energy anywhere he goes. You can't not like him, regardless if you don't like a style. And I don't really care for a style, to be honest, but I can relate to this guy in press conference. I can relate to this guy when he's on the mic. He's having fun during his fights. He talks shit during his fights. Like, even though he's a decision machine, he makes up for it in other ways. And it reminds me of early in my career. You know, I'll give you guys a little backstory of the Guitar Hero. Like, early in my career, I was a decision machine or I was a rear naked choke machine. I would take guys down, beat them up. They'd give me their neck and I'd choke them out, or I would win decisions. I'd go 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds, win decision. And I remember my coach, my mentor, one of my best friends, one of my family members, essentially, Darren Cruikshank. He was a UFC vet. I remember him talking in college. He's like, Justin, you're so fucking boring. Like, nobody's going to want to watch you fight at the big show. You're never going to get a shot at the big show. You need to stop wrestling and just start working on your boxing, your kickboxing. So I did that. And for the first couple fights, I got my fucking ass whipped. I'd get TKO'd. I'd find myself hurt, diving in for, bad shots and getting guillotined, or, getting cut or getting eaten in the head, or, crazy shit was happening. But in that transition, I wasn't the most exciting fighter, but I would do out of the ring antics to get people hype. Like, I'd do the Guitar Hero thing. Like, my music would hit and I'd be wearing these big aviator sunglasses. I'd have this black t-shirt that said, I shaved my balls for this. And I'd have different style of headbands, usually pink or white. And it'd say something across like, I don't know, just stupid sayings. Like, be tough or bad motherfucker, just like corny shit. But I'm coming and I'd have the Guitar Hero and I'm strumming my guitar and I'd be dancing on the ring. And people are like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what? And next thing I know, I have a following. And now people are coming up to me, like, oh, you're the greatest. You're the greatest. And it's like, dude, I'm just taking guys down to rear naked, choking them. But they like the theatrics of it. And that's why I like Merab so much. When he's in there, he's so great at what he does. But what he does is kind of boring. But when he talks shit, it's awesome. When he's in the press conference, it's awesome. I remember there's one time I came out to everyone kung fu fighting. I was wearing a karate gi and a black belt, and I had this black headband on with my big ears, and I'm dancing all the way to the ring. And people wanted to see me lose, but some wanted to see me win. And I remember even when I got to the UFC, they're like, aren't you that guy that used to come out with the guitar? We're talking 10 years later. They didn't know my name, but they remembered me as the Guitar Hero. And that's the thing about entertainment. And fighters don't understand this. We are a brand of entertainment. If our fighting style isn't exciting to fans, we need to find other ways to get people excited about us fighting. Like Bilal, like the cringiest guy ever. And, after I've watched a couple of his fights recently, his style really isn't as bad as I felt it was. Like, he can kick, he can box, he has good wrestling, but on the mic, he's terrible. Like, he doesn't do anything exciting out of cage. What gets us excited? Merab is a different animal. His style isn't the most exciting, but everywhere else, he is just an incredible human being.
Now I understand when you're giving advice to all the fusion fighters about, hey, you have to kind of have a personality and put it out there and be more interesting on the mic. I understand now where you're coming from, given that history. I kind of knew the history, but I didn't know that you even considered yourself a boring wrestler. By the way, and I want to go back to Merab, because the other cool thing about Merab, what I'm noticing, and you might notice this as well, right? You said decision machine. His last fight wasn't a decision. He got a submission against Sean O'Malley, and he's saying he's going to get a knockout over Corey Sandhagen. So what that tells me is this guy is actively trying to improve when he's at the height of the bantamweight division. And that's the type of thing that I love to see. I love to see people shooting for greatness upon greatness and just trying to keep pushing themselves and improving. And he's doing it, obviously, I'm sure, to push himself internally, but also to be more of a fan favorite. So how incredible is that? To see somebody at that, like you did that back in the day, maybe when you're an amateur, maybe as an early level pro, started working on your style and becoming more exciting. He's doing it at the top of the heap on a 13 fight win streak. So I think that it just blows me away. Merab continues to impress me, not only for his fight style. I do like his fight style. Actually, it's growing on me, but not only for that, not only for his dominance, but his personality and perseverance that we see time and again. By the way, we got a couple of comments I want to highlight here. MGAL4 Productions is back in the mix. Oh yeah, he said co-main is going to be fight of the night. Tehran giving you some props. He said he was watching your style back in the day and he didn't find it boring. So there you go. MGAL4 Productions says Extreme Couture against the world. And Donald Gage says, I have Merab in the 4th TKO. Totally hated him and his style, but I was happy he was stopped. He stopped toying with O'Malley all 5 rounds. He's a killer now. I don't see anyone beating him for a long time. 13 fight win streak. People don't talk about that enough. That's insane.
I think he can eclipse Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva had 16 fight win streak.
It's coming. I think he's gonna get it done too. I really like Corey Sandhagen. Justin, give us the breakdown because you did a breakdown video. Tell us why do you think it's going to go in Merab's direction?
Bad stylistic matchup. Corey Sandhagen is an incredible kickboxer. He goes orthodox. He goes southpaw. He has incredible kicks. He has incredible knees. He has incredible teep kicks. He has incredible spinning attacks. If you guys watched the fight against Marlon Vera, he hit him with that spinning wheel kick that I can relate to because I got knocked out for the first time in my career by a spinning wheel kick last year. But the problem is when you fight Merab, honestly, a guy like, and I'm not saying I could beat Merab, and that's let's not jump to the gun in what I'm about to say. But my style matches really good against Merab because I'm short, I'm stout, I'm low to the ground. He'd have a hard time getting under me, and my boxing is going to be coming down the middle. I'm not going to be dynamic. I'm not going to be spinning. I'm not going to be throwing a lot of high kicks because Merab, when he catches kicks, he's like a dog on a bone. He is probably the greatest single leg finisher that I have seen in the UFC. When he grabs a leg, he's not letting go of it till he gets the takedown. Now, Sandhagen does have incredible kicks. So I wanted to give Sandhagen, before I make my breakdown, the benefit of the doubt, like, all right, he's good at throwing kicks up the middle. He had that beautiful knee against Frankie Edgar. But the thing is with Merab, and this is another thing that I didn't know until I really when I'm watching his fights with buddies, I'm not staring, but trying to break down. When I go back and watch, I'm slowing the fight down. I'm rewinding it over and over. I'm watching his head movement. I'm watching his feet. And so I can get a really more detailed breakdown of it. So when we talk about Merab's wrestling, I thought it would just be like he's waiting for his guy to come in, then he dives in for shots. He gets a leg, kind of like Hamzat. How Hamzat goes forward, he doesn't throw too many strikes. I mean, he does a little bit, but then he's just going to dive in like a folk style wrestling shot. Once he gets a leg, he's a dog on a bone. He's not going to take it. Now, the difference between Hamzat and Merab, why I think Merab's better than Hamzat at wrestling or in this facet, it's because he sets all his strikes up, or all his takedowns up off his strikes. And two particular setups he has is off his jab, where he's orthodox. He'll back up, throw his jab, and as his opponent's kind of parrying or catching, he'll go jab, reach down, grab that front leg, and he'll pull it behind the knee and try to pull it up. Now, two things he can do with that. If he is able to pull that leg up to his chest, he can lock on like the dog on the bone. And a lot of people think like, oh, well, you have that leg up, you can still be on one foot and still punch. But when he has that leg up, like in traditional folk style wrestling, you get the leg up. Now you're contemplating in your head, oh, could I do this takedown? Could I do this takedown? Should I go forward? Should I go back? So a lot of times when you're registering in your head on what the opposition is doing, you're standing still. All right. Merab doesn't stand still. When he gets that leg up, he's either pulling you more towards him or rushing you backwards. In that sense, you're trying to hold your balance, balancing on one leg, so you can't strike. He's trying to hold up there, and people are trying to grab onto Merab and hold on as they're going backwards, and they can't get off any strikes, hence why his takedowns are so successful. Now, with his double leg, and this was the really thing that I really watched over and over and over, and I'm going to go back to his John Dodson fight, who Dodson to me is a freaking savage. Dodson was trying to time knees up the middle when Merab shot, but Merab had a lot of success. Because Merab will throw a powerful right hand. He doesn't throw a lot of big combos, but he'll throw a big right hand or a big left hook. When Merab throws his right hand, you don't know if he's going to shoot after or if he's just going to stick you and get out. So you have to respect when he throws a right hand, because if you're just contemplating on the wrestling, you're going to get cracked with this big overhand right or right hand. Now, the other key piece of it, when he throws his right hand, kind of like I do, he throws his right hand, whether it's looping or straight, but he gets his head offline. So when the guys are trying to throw teep kicks and knees up the middle, his head isn't up the middle. It's offline. So when John Dodson was trying to time his switch knee, which he almost did a couple times, he was missing by about this much, because if Merab's head was straight down the middle, the knee would hit him right here. But Merab's throwing it here and moving, and the knee was going by his face. People were like, oh, wow, he was really close. Although he was really close, Merab was doing everything right to make sure he just was close and not landing. Does that make sense? Now, when guys are trying to throw that rear knee, all right, now if I start ducking my head to the left, that rear knee, you might be more susceptible to the rear knee. Well, the thing is, when a guy's trying to throw his rear knee on Merab plays off his jab. With that being said, Merab throws his left jab, his head moves to the right. Now that rear knee is missing. He throws his cross, His head's to the left. The switch knee's missing. You don't know which way he's coming. You understand? You don't know if he's going to go cross shot or jab shot. So you're just throwing a naked knee or a naked teep kick up there, hoping to get lucky. If you want to beat someone like Merab, you can't just hope on luck. You have to detailed skill plan. And right now, I don't know how guys are going to figure out which knee. Now, could they throw a naked knee and Merab run into it? Of course. But again, they're going to have to get lucky. And I think that Sandhagen's just too dynamic of a striker. I think he's going to be looking for jump knees and jump kicks, and he might spin. And I just think it's a bad stylistic matchup for him.
And so basically it's almost going to be, it's just too low of a probability. That's basically what you're saying. If he throws a knee or something like that to make the connection, it can happen. But because of Merab's head movement and the way he throws strikes.
And he goes out there and knocks, and I'm sorry, I cut you off, but if he goes out there and knocks him out, I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it, because he does throw those strikes up the middle, but a little bit of luck is going to have to play into it.
Yeah, and he has gotten those knockouts that way. He's got brutal flying knees and just regular strikes, as well as you mentioned, the spinning attack. So it could happen, but I think the odds would have it in favor of Merab, as you do, and that makes a lot of sense. I'd love to see Merab win. I think Corey Sandhagen would be cool as well as a champion. I really like Corey Sandhagen, but I would like to see the dominance continue and to see Merab really establish himself. And let's see, maybe he does go 16-0, 17-0 for I'm talking about for a fight, winning fight streak. So that would be pretty cool. By the way, we did get a comment from Tehran that I do want to put up here. I did not know this. I did not hear this, but apparently John Jones's brother, Arthur Jones, has passed away. Apparently this might be breaking news. I believe both his brothers played in the NFL. So here he said it was John Jones' brother Chandler, but then he said he meant Arthur. I don't know if it was the gentleman. I don't know anything about this story. I remember once upon a time one of his brothers was having some mental health issues. I don't know if it was Chandler or Arthur. I actually thought I remembered it being Chandler. So I don't know exactly what's happened. I just wanted to mention this as it was in the comments, and obviously condolences to John Jones. Yeah, I believe Donald says an NFL player. Yeah, I believe NFL players. Both of his brothers are NFL players. So that obviously, regardless of who we want to see fight and win and all this stuff, like that's a horrendous thing. I think his brother must be young, like John, in his late 30s, early 40s. So that's a tragedy. And yeah, anyways, condolences to John Jones. But that is it. We are moving on from Merab and Corey Sandhagen to the third fight on the card, which I don't know. I don't know how this is not going to be interesting or not going to be incredible. Justin, I know you didn't break this down and really analyze it, but let's just talk about from a fun perspective. What are your expectations for this crazy matchup?
Khalil by knockout, man. I mean, Jiri is great, and I love his off the camera antics, and he's a samurai, and he holds his breath when he trains and all this goofy stuff. But it's funny because I had some clients in from out of town. Actually, one was from Mumbai, India.
Hey.
And the other one was from Serbia. And they're asking me about this fight. So I have a good breakdown of this. And they were taking Jiri by knockout in this fight. And I just don't see that happening. And I just don't like his training style. And I don't like his training habits. And the thing is this. Every time Khalil steps in the cage, I feel he's getting a little bit better. All right. He's doing the right things to work on the things that he needs to do to get better. Jiri looks like the same fighter to me. I don't feel like he's improving that much. And, when you have a guy that does these unorthodox things of training, why isn't if the way of his training is so powerful and so good, why isn't everybody training like that? It's like Lyoto Machida came on the scene and he has this, or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. They're like, oh my God, karate is so awesome. It's like these guys are anomalies. They've been able to take a style and make it work for them. As a whole, though, as a numbers guy, you're a numbers guy. If you take 100 guys and you teach them high-level karate and put them in the UFC, maybe 2 guys are going to have success. You understand? It's like it's in the same thing with this Jiri thing. You take 100 guys and you train like him, you have Jiri. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is not an efficient way to train. Doctors, medical staff, like I'm not saying that I'm not discrediting. I'm sure the way he trains is hard and fine. But look, if it was the highest level way to approach fighting, everybody would do it. And unfortunately, for Jiri, I just think he's such a great athlete and a great fighter that he's able to do things this way, and it works for him. But Khalil's doing things the right way day in and day out. In every fight, I say this every time, he's getting better. And I think he's just going to be too much for Jiri.
Fair enough. What about it? I know you mentioned Jiri. You didn't see a lot of improvement. By the way, I'm just realizing now you just made me think of the when you talked about Jiri versus Khalil. You just made me think of Dan Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan, which was announced, and we haven't even talked about it yet. And it's not on the topic list. Maybe we'll talk about it. Unfortunately, today I have to go I can't stay too long because of the fight card in Montana. Anyways, we'll talk about that at some point, maybe Monday. But when he fought Jamal Hill, when Jiri fought Jamal Hill, people were going crazy, or at least the commentators were, about, oh my God, Yuri's now got head movement. He didn't move his head for so long. So they were saying, or at least they felt, that he had made some significant changes and big improvements from the Alex fight to Jamal Hill. Does that change your mind at all? Does that make you rethink your thoughts on how this fight will go, or you still feel strongly it's going to be Khalil?
I think it's going to be Khalil, man. And Khalil's going to want it more, man. I think Khalil, he had his taste of almost winning a championship. Jiri did not almost win anything. I think he got knocked out the second round. And when you are that close to greatness, it's like a drug. It's like, oh, man, I need to do everything I can to get back in that situation and right the wrong, because I'm sure he feels wronged. I'm not saying he feels wrong, but you understand the expression of how I mean. Sure. And when guys like, oh, well, look at his head movement now, that's a very, very small adjustment. That's just not going to be enough.
And Jiri was champ. I mean, it's been a while since he was champ, but he was champ before. Do you think that goes against him? Maybe like, oh, he's already been up there, so his motivation won't be the same as, yeah, you think so? Okay.
I'm not going to, as a whole, as a number, as a percentage, I'm not saying everyone's like that. You look at Merab, He's the champ. He wants to stay the champ. He's motivated every fight. But here's an interesting statistic. And I always compare it to myself because I have 100 fights. My next fight will be my 80th. Like, through my amateur and pro career, I have won about 8 belts. All right. On regional shows. As a pro, I think I had 2 or 3. The regional shows, or it's whatever. I'm not saying, oh, I'm the fucking badass, but I had like 8 belts. I never was able to defend one time. Not once. I lost every single defense I ever had.
Wow.
Every single one. And I just didn't care. It's like, I don't really care. I've already, like, getting the belt, I'm excited. Like, oh, I'm going to be the champ. I want to be the best. But once I had that strap and I had it around my shoulder, like, all right, I want to get another belt. I want to get another belt. I had 4 title defenses and I lost all of them. As a pro and as an amateur. I lost to Carl Deaton when I got out of the UFC. I was the returning TWC champ. And that was when I was essentially in my prime. And I remember being in the fight in the second or third round, and he's on top of me, elbowing me in the head. And I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I went from getting paid 20 and 20 to getting paid $1,000, 1,000. I'm thinking, like, what am I doing here? I didn't care about the belt. I already won there. I already beat Troy Lamson. I already was the champ. Like, that motivation to be hungry, to just keep repeating and staying it. Because again, when you're the champ, you're here. When you win, you don't go up. You just stay there. When you lose, you go down. But when you win, you're there. So I'm not saying every fighter's like that, but I was like that. Merab isn't like that. I'm not saying Yuri's like that either, but he could be.
Fair point. So we'll see how the psychology, the skill differential, the age, as Donald Gage points out too, Khalil's 35, and I guess Jiri is only 32, which is so crazy. He seems like so much wiser.
I thought he would have been like 38 or something.
But we shall see. I can't wait for this fight. It's going to be a banger regardless, and that's why I think guaranteed fight of the year, in my opinion, because my fight of the year last year was Khalil Roundtree versus Alex Pereira. That, at least for me, I loved that fight from start to finish. Absolutely incredible. Okay, now we're moving on to some fun news here. I don't know if you saw this clip, but I got it queued up for you. Conor McGregor and Mike Perry go back and forth, and I actually liked it. I'm really happy Mike Perry went at him. Now, look, I know he's kind of his boss. I don't really still understand the ownership breakdown between Conor and Dave Feldman. Conor just is like, I'm the owner. Like, he acts like he's got full ownership. I'm sure he has a very small stake because that's just Conor being Conor. But anyways, I liked it that Mike Perry finally fought back and gave it back to Conor, and they were having a back and forth, and this is making headlines everywhere. So Justin, check this out. By the way, there's a BKFC event tomorrow as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in terms of the main event, Mike Perry versus your boy, Jeremy Stevens. But guys, check this out. This was crazy. And look who's here. Dylan Dennis, of course. And Dylan Dennis is the one that caused this ruckus. Check it out.
After victory on Saturday night, I'm sure there's plenty of big opportunities. Like the question that Feldman got is, would one of us get a shot at the world championship? And he said, we got to move the needle.
You got to fucking fight for that world title, Mike. You've never been a world champion here, so you're in here saying you're this and you're that. You're no world champion. So without a world title here in this promotion, I only start speaking as I spoke when I secured 2 UFC world titles. You know,
I beat that world champion twice. I knocked him out twice in a different sport. So look, I'm going to beat Jeremy's ass on Saturday. Whatever
Your next fight is for a world title.
If the big money fight ends up fighting Dylan Dennis in MMA, or how about me and Conor at the White House? You need to fight an American who can win. Exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Conor's, he looks a little flustered. He doesn't know what to say.
The only one doing it.
Is this on? Hello.
I train every day.
Your next fight, Mike. If you win, by the way, Jeremy has some good shots, and your stances and movements and reactions, I see paths for Jeremy, a real path for Jeremy. However, your next fight, if you get through this, has got to be for a world title. You should be climbing for a world title here in this organization, not trying to piggyback around and do this bullshit. No one cares.
World title.
No one cares about this other bullshit.
Who cares about that bum that I knocked out twice? Obviously, nobody.
Listen,
he's nobody.
He's the middleweight world champion, and you're the fucking. You're just. We made you.
I'll beat him again. I've already said.
Who made you can break you. Who made you can break you. Who built you can kill you. You're fighting for the world title. If you get through this, that's how straight. Otherwise, you're fucking nothing. And if you don't perform,
we'll see how that goes.
If you don't perform, you can go and do all these Mickey Mouse fights that no one gives a fuck about. That'll generate nothing, and we won't give a fuck here at Bare-knuckle.
All right, why is Conor so twitchy?
My name is Robert Cardillo from the Hurt Handbook, and I just have a question for Conor McGregor.
Darn it! Wait, he says more. He goes off and hold on. It's a little bit past this. It continues on. We're almost at. We're gonna talk about this because he goes at Conor for not fighting. It's amazing. Check this out.
I'm the same to him as a fighter.
You know, I like Mike. It's hard not to like Mike. A good family man, and he's gone through his troubles, and he shows up to fight. I just think world title honors is what it's about. You've never been a world champion. You have a chance here.
You're downplaying everything. The mockery. You haven't fought here. Why don't you come get?
I own this fucking thing. What are you talking about? I'm the owner. I book the matches. You need to climb for a world title. Otherwise, you're here today, gone tomorrow. A fart in Michael Perry, a fart in the wind. That'll be fucking you if you don't climb for a fucking world title.
It's more than any fight you're doing. You ain't fighting nobody.
Yeah, I'm coming back in the White House. You're trying to clamor for it and switch roles. You're fighting for that world title if you get through this weekend.
They're going to treat you like Frankie Edgar.
The redneck Mundell. The big boss is going to make it happen, baby.
Oh my God, so much to unpack. But Mike Carey gives it to Conor, says, "Hey, I'm doing more than you're doing." And it's how interesting is it, by the way, that and people get mad at the UFC when they don't let their fighters fight in other organizations. Conor was upset too, but now Conor's doing the same thing. He doesn't want Mike Perry. You can hear it. Maybe he's contractually allowed to take other fights, but he doesn't want him to go fight for other promotions because it makes sense. He doesn't want him to go out and lose in other fights, diminish his value, and then come back to the BKFC and not be as much hype. Like, you see what's going on. People get mad at the UFC for that, but you understand why. There's a business reason. It's not just the UFC being a jerk to all their fighters. It's the same here now. But Justin, anyways, after that back and forth, let me get your take. What's your reaction?
Mike Perry has beaten world champions. He beat the UFC lightweight world champion, Eddie Alvarez.
Yep.
He beat the middleweight world champion, Luke Rockhold. Like, what is Conor talking about? Like, I just think, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but again, he's bet I think he has a more impressive resume in BKFC, or just as impressive resume on BKFC as Conor does. Conor hasn't beaten, that's a lightweight to a middleweight. And now he's taking on Jeremy Stevens, always a top 10 guy. That had been always a top 10 guy, featherweight, fought in lightweight a little bit. You know what I mean? But Luke Rockhold knocked his teeth out. Like, what? What are you talking about, man? Mike Perry is the baddest bare-knuckle fighter. He's in the top 2 baddest bare-knuckle fighters of all time. There's no question.
To me, what Conor's doing, it's just manipulation. He's trying to dissuade Mike Perry from taking any other fights outside of the organization like Dylan Dennis or whatnot, because like, no, you should be wanting a world title here. This is your opportunity. Basically saying, stop with the other fights. You're diminishing our brand. You're diminishing your brand when you go out take these fights and lose. Maybe you can win, but we'd rather have you here while you're in your prime, you're doing your thing. I think that's really what it is. And it's very funny because he's taking on that promoter role. But also, how funny is it that he's like, I own this thing. Like, I'm not a co-owner. I don't have an ownership stake. I own the whole thing. That's the way he's talking. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way about Conor. Conor's like that guy that we all know in our lives who's just such a like every time you're around them, all they do is brag about themselves. You know what I mean? We all know people like that. All he is capable of doing. Yeah. I know what you're saying. But all he does is just brag and talk smack and like talk about how he's got this, and that's probably like really annoying. I'm just making a guess here, but he's probably like this normally, and it's probably annoying. So it's like it's him doing the same thing here, and I think he's also a habitual. I don't want to call him a liar, but a habitual exaggerator. Oh yeah, I remember he said he made 80 million off of the fight against Dustin Poirier or something. I'm sure. I just feel like he always adds a big pinch of salt to every figure and every estimate. When he says 80, I'm guessing 30. You know what I'm saying? It's just always something that he's adding a little bit of BS flair to. And that's my take on him from afar. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But it is bringing up hype for the fight tomorrow night. So we're going to see Mike Perry face off against Jeremy Stephens. So talking about that, let's go over to this fight. Jeremy Stephens, amazing bare knuckle fighter, but we have to be honest, he has fought at 145. Mike Perry, on the other hand, has fought at 185. They're meeting somewhere in the middle. So that's going to have an effect. Conor did talk about that during the presser, but Justin, take it away. Let's just get your raw reaction, raw feeling. How's this fight going to go? Who's going to get it?
Man, Jeremy Stephens is obviously a dog. He's going to show up ready to fight. Mike Perry's just too big for him, though. There's if they were the same size, I mean, here's the thing: Jeremy could land shots. Jeremy, I have trained with a lot of guys through the years. I've never trained with Jeremy. I've been advised not to train with Jeremy because every time you train with Jeremy, it is a fight, and he is a pit bull in the gym. He's going to try to knock you out. And I've heard middleweights tell me that he's one of the hardest punching guys they've ever been hit by. And I mean, could he knock Mike Perry out? Of course he could, but I think he's going to. Absolutely not. Mike Perry has already been there. He's been in the wars. He knows what to expect. And Mike Perry is like a breed we've never seen before.
And on top of that, it's bare knuckle. You know firsthand. You fought bare knuckle. You can't slang. What's the word? Slang him and bang him. And like you can't do that recklessly because you can catch the top of the head. You can catch somebody up here and break your hand very easily if you're swinging with too much power without the proper wraps and whatnot that you normally get in a typical MMA fight. So I think that could even go against him. Especially, it seems like Mike Perry's got some special genetics with his head and with his frame and different things. So I almost wonder if that's going to work against him. Plus the size advantage. I feel like bare knuckle is a bit more about these genetic predispositions. Again, I'm no expert in bare knuckle, but this is just my take from talking to you and watching the few bare knuckle matches that we've commentated over in Fusion Fight League, etc. I don't know. I'm feeling the same way. I'm feeling the size and the genetic predisposition of Mike Perry is going to reign supreme. I almost think Jeremy Stephens' power is going to work against him. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. My prediction is Jeremy Stephens is going to break his hand. And Mike Perry's still going to win, whether it's by knockout or TKO, but I think Jeremy Stephens is going to break his hand.
Do you know if Mike Perry has ever even broke his hand in a fight?
I don't believe so, but
that's
again,
fucking crazy.
He may have and may not have reported, or I may not be aware of it, but I don't believe it's ever come out that he broke a hand.
He had to get hand surgery after or anything. Like, that's fucking crazy. I mean, I've had one bare knuckle fight, and within 6 minutes, I was compromised. It's just, it's fucking crazy. Like, I remember thinking, like, this hurts so bad to throw punches. Like, that's because remember me being that stout, you know, like kind of like really tucked up guy. I don't mind getting hit because the gloves, I mean, they're hard, but you're not getting that cutting, piercing effect. When I was hitting him, I hit him with a left hook overhand. When I hit him right here, I was just like, fuck. And you'd think that like, oh, the adrenaline's going. I mean, no, I felt everything, bro. And now his punches hurt, but I've been in bar fights before. I knew what to expect when he would hit me, but I had no idea what to expect when I hit him.
It's wild. I still can't even believe you did that. But speaking of bar fights, bare knuckle, street fights, etc., we move on to our final topic. Who is Ateba Gautier? This guy, I feel like I'm so late to the party. I can't believe I haven't been researching this guy prior to today, honestly, because this might be my new favorite fighter in terms of prospects. Okay, obviously Khamzat Chimaev still reigns supreme, but Justin, let me show you this guy. Your boys, or you train with Francis Ngannou. I don't want to mischaracterize, like you're not hanging out all the time, but you guys are teammates. You're a big fan of Francis. This guy is also from Cameroon. This guy also seems to have freak genetics. He's even told Ariel that he's considered average size in Cameroon. Look at this guy. Watch this highlight tape, and then we're going to talk about him a little bit more.
Ooh, nice. Referee letting that one go.
This ref. All right, now you saw how jacked this dude is. He apparently doesn't lift weights at all because he hates lifting weights, but that's his natural physique, natural frame. His power is out of control. He's 23 years old. He is right now training in the UK alongside Lerone Murphy. I can't remember the name of their gym, but he said Lerone Murphy is who he really looks up to. This guy is a freak of nature. He grew up in Cameroon. On top of that, talking about street fights, Ariel asked him how many street fights has he been in. He's like, dude, I can't count. He's like, over 100. He's like, yeah, way over 100. He said in Cameroon, people would try him and challenge him all the time, and he had to fight, but it wasn't regular fights. It was like 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-5. He's been stabbed in the shoulder with a screwdriver, and he didn't even go to the hospital afterwards. He's like, that's just normal. Everybody had weapons. So a lot of times you're fighting guys in Cameroon with bare hands and they have weapons. That was totally normal. He said it was only after he left Cameroon and came to the UK that he realized like fighting with a weapon is a whole nother thing. And like, it's a big deal. It's a big crime. It's a major jump in terms of the criminal statutes that then apply, etc. So like to him, no, that's just normal. People try you all the time. On top of that, this guy, the way he thinks, he's just such like a gentle soul, which I love that combination of just a killer. But then when he talks about fights, he's like, to me, mixed martial arts and competing in the UFC compared to the street fights. In the street fights, there's anger, there's animosity. Here, it's like a partnership. We're coming together, we're making money together, and we're trying to help each other get better. When I knock somebody out or when I hurt them in the cage, they're going to go back and become a better fighter and become a better person. So it's all love. And I just think he's such a unique combination of incredible physique, unbelievable skill, youth, and just this amazing mind and mentality. Plus he's like a lifelong learner. He loves IT, he loves mathematics, he loves physics. He says, I'm going to keep learning while I pursue this career in MMA. I mean, I'm just blown away by this guy as a whole. After watching that highlight reel, maybe learning a little bit about his story from what I've told you, what are your thoughts? He's on the early prelims or prelims, I can't remember, but he's fighting tomorrow. I don't know. Are you as excited as I am?
I mean, he looks great, but I don't recognize any name he's fought. I don't recognize the promotions he's fought in. We get a lot of guys with all this hype. Don't you remember that Taekwondo heavyweight? They're all excited about it, like, oh my God, he has so much power and he's so dynamic. And I remember you were all horny about him. And we see these guys come in the Fusion. You're like, oh, remember there's a going guy. I don't want to say his name, embarrassing, but you're like, oh man, this guy, from Russia, but he's a kickboxer and this and that. We're like, oh, really hype. And then he gets finished in the first round. We had that Taekwondo heavyweight with all this hype and all these incredible knockouts, get finished in the first round. I mean, he looks good. He looks exciting. He speaks English.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good, very good English.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he has all the tools to be a superstar, but to get to the UFC, which he's gotten to, and to perform under that banner over and over and over is not an easy task. There's a lot of guys that come in here with a great amount of skill. I remember there's, one of my teammates, Max Raxkoff, arguably one of the best MMA fighters that I've ever worked with, gets to the UFC, loses his debut, and never got another shot because of, unfortunately, how it went. Getting to the big shows, one thing, be able to perform in the big shows, another. So, he's gotten through his conquest of getting there. Let's see how he performs.
Man, okay. Well, I guess we shall see. They did say on the morning show, obviously you can see he's a striking wonderkin. I don't know too much about his ground game, but they just said, keep him away from, they said, what should we do with this guy right now? Gautier, they said, keep him away from wrestlers. Let him build very slowly, nice and carefully. Let him build his resume up. Don't rush him like they felt Bo Nickel was rushed into the fight against RDR and obviously wasn't ready for that level of competition. They said, don't rush him, and let's see what happens. How amazing would it be if we found out that this guy has the most incredible wrestling defense and just can't be taken down? That'd be so cool if we could see that, because that's the one thing, like you said, I am worried about. We'll see as the competition steps up, and we'll see as he has to go against a major wrestler. But man, his striking is kind of like, Francis Ngannou, but in obviously not at the heavyweight level where
I think he's way better. I think he's way better.
Dude, I can't.
He looks a lot more clean, a lot more technical. Francis is really wild. If you remember when he fought, I was at Rakic, where he just was like swinging like this and like just crazy and lands that one big shot that knocked him out. Like, this guy looks a lot more polished as a striker.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what he can do at the highest level. Like I said, all the guys he fought, I was looking at their name like at the bottom. I didn't recognize any of them. And they just didn't look like physical specimens. He looks like a physical specimen. Excuse me. So let's see. I mean, the UFC is probably going to give him. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, if you get, it's not just a lot of MMA guys. Like, you look at myself. Like, I'm a college wrestler. I didn't wrestle in my fights, but I know how to wrestle. If I was going to fight that guy, I'm focusing on my wrestling. You know what I mean? So even if they say, oh, don't match him up against kickboxer, a lot of these kickboxers still know how to wrestle.
No, they said don't match him up against a wrestler.
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of these kickboxers that you would consider kickboxers know how to wrestle.
I got you.
If I was a high-level kickboxer, but I still had good wrestling, and this guy doesn't have any wrestling, I'm still going to try to wrestle him.
Understood. I got you. Okay, guys, we have to wrap up today. What a fun show. We're going to talk about Arman Sarukian versus Dan Hooker. We're going to talk about Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gary on Monday, but we'll have to wait until then. I got to go get ready for this Fusion show. If you guys do want to check out Fusion Fight League, watch me commentate. I won't be with Justin, but I'll be doing it solo, not solo, but with somebody else today. Check it out. Go to Fusion Fight League. You can look us up on Facebook, and you can check out the stream there. The prelims are going to be free. You can buy the pay-per-view if you want to keep watching. But we're going to go through the last few comments, and then I got a dip. Donald Gage says, do you ever climb Mount? Oh, he's talking to Western. Sorry. Ateba at training at Extreme, right? No, I don't believe he's training at Extreme. Justin does not know him, but that would be amazing if he trained down there. Holy, I'd love to.
He might be there, and I just not recognize him because I've never heard of him before.
Ateba Gautier. Oh my God. Well, dude, I'm such a fan of this guy, and all around as a human being, he just seems absolutely incredible. MGAL4 production, or sorry, Tehran says, this Vines guy, that's who he's fighting, is a natural welterweight. He just moved up. Oh, God. He's a welterweight moving up to middle. This is going to be bad. This is going to be very bad.
Or he's going to be exposed, or he's going to expose him.
We'll see. Yeah, true. That could happen too. But I just want to believe that Gautier is kind of like the new prodigal son of the UFC. So we shall see. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate all the support. You got the regulars, Donald, MGAL4 Productions, Western, obviously, Tehran, Barat, Matthew back in the mix, and we even had some comments earlier from Chad Bees. Chad Bees just kind of came in and out. He said, my picks are this. But Chad, everybody who keeps coming back, you make this so much fun for us, so we really appreciate it. And we love to talk about the sport. We will continue to do so. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.